Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Yay, 2 pages right off the bat. That's fantastic. Awesome. Welcome, welcome to the VO Dojo Ask the Sensei. I'm Tish Hicks. I'm the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. And this is our free monthly Q&A. Um, we have I'm here. Usually Dan Leonard joins us for as our techno sensei, our home studio master. Dan is actually preparing for the WovoCon in Orlando right now, so we will cover any tech questions that you have to the best of our knowledge and defer you to Dan when he gets back. If not, and each month, we invite one of our esteemed and inspiring voiceover colleagues to join us to answer your questions. So, we are thrilled to have Jack Daniel join us. Maybe last night you got a chance to take in the 21 questions interview that we do with our Ask the Sensei guest senseis before. Where Jack and I talked for a while and talked about his origin story. So if you haven't, take it in because lots of good things. Um, Let me introduce the dojo team here. We have Sensei Kat is joining us today. Quentin Hudspeth is our facilitator today, and then Tyler Ashley is our talent support. So they're here in the background. Stick around to the end. Tyler Ashley has some things she wants to share with everybody at the end. And In terms of how this works, um, we're going to have Jack introduce himself and tell us a little bit about what he's up to. And then, since it's a question and answer session, we're going to answer your questions. So you can start putting those in the chat as we're talking, as Jack is introducing himself, and and then we'll call you up. We'll call you up and get your voice in the room to ask your questions, and we'll answer as many as we can until 11 o'clock. And that's Ask the Sensei. So glad everyone's here. And Jack, welcome, welcome. So glad you're here.
Thanks for having me, Tish. It's a pleasure to be here. You know, when I was starting out, the VO Dojo was one of the first things I came across. So I find it really fun to come full circle as to it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, it was really inspiring to hear how much, how much you've done in a relatively short amount of time in one of the most, I think, one of the most specific and perhaps uh, e- exclusive, elusive realms of business.
Don't
All
be
those
if,
the
but
E words. Yeah, but you seem to have effortlessly found your way, so that's
I
great.
don't know about effortlessly.
Effectively, how about that
Yeah.
for the E
If
words?
I pulled the rug over your eyes and convinced you that I did it effortlessly with any ease, then great.
Excellent. Well, then you are a swan because it seems like that on the top. Yeah, but can you give a brief overview of what your journey has been and what you're up to these days?
Yeah, I mean, I started out. I was an actor for a long time on stage. Did some movie stuff, some TV stuff. Did Was in a sketch comedy group for a while. We traveled around and did sketch. Uh, but that all got put on the shelf when I decided to, I needed some money to support myself because I wasn't making much. I went into the corporate world, and I was in Silicon Valley for a long time at a startup. We did pretty well. I mean, we had some good success with that company, but honestly, once you've been bitten by the performance bug, it's pretty hard to get rid of that particular virus. So it came back with a vengeance. And around 2013 or 14, I think I saw that movie In a World with Lake Bell and people who became, funnily enough, good friends later. People like Joe Cipriano and Townsend Coleman, and the others who were actual VO people in the movie. Um, including the star of the movie. But we and that made me think, I wonder if I could do this voiceover thing. That looks like something I could do. And so I immediately took a stab at it. It was terrible. I was just awful. But, it's because I didn't know anything. And I thought, just trying to be charming or whatever would be enough. And it certainly isn't. So I decided what I need to do is figure out who are the best people and see if I can learn from them. So I reached out to some of the best coaches and, did basically a couple of years of intensive study. Kept going to LA. I was living in Northern California at the time. I kept jumping down to LA to meet with people, kind of build my network. Something that can actually be done now, fortunately, through online contacts. But at the time, it was still very much in person. And then decided to quit my job, move to LA, and I was fortunate enough to land an agent pretty quickly and start booking work. And then I had actually gone to the Joe Cipriano masterclass, and I met a guy named Brett Wynn, who was a trailer house producer, and he liked my sound, and he said, "Why don't you scratch for us?" And I thought, great, maybe in a few years I'll start being able to do trailers or whenever, because I know it's something I shouldn't put my sights on right away. But I was really lucky, and after a few months, I actually booked my first campaign, then my second campaign. Then all of a sudden, I started getting calls from the trailer managers, and that kind of takes us to where we are now.
Yeah, yeah. So I love that. I love that because in some ways, it's well, the things I hear are the ingredients that you have, the background, the things, the experiences that you had that you were able to bring, and then your approach. Um, so it seems like, oh, it's that easy. Um,
Yeah,
however, I heard years of learning your craft and building your skills, and then I also heard mindset of who and how am I training, and yes, I'll do what needs to be done. Those are
yeah,
the and then patience and not explain, hey, I'm here. Right.
right,
I remember when graduated from Northwestern, I'm like, I'm here.
right.
Who cares? Super for you.
Maybe
Um,
your parents, that's about it, right? Maybe,
yeah. Um, yeah, but and then you go like, right. So I heard being ready and being humble and being patient and being activated.
and being resilient, because when I was in that corporate world, I was basically a salesman. I mean, that was my main job, was bringing on business, and it was a long process, often sales cycles that took a year or two for a product that was like a big investment for companies. So I learned, to not take it personally when people said no, to
Mhm.
take it personally when people said maybe next year. I mean, you just have to get used to, okay, but if you stay in the game, that's half of it right there. Because a lot
Yeah.
of people think, oh, it didn't happen in the first 6 months, so I guess I'm not going to do this anymore.
Right, right. Excellent, excellent. Cool. Well, we would love to hear in your questions in the chat, and maybe Q, where you are on your journey, if you want to put that in there, if everyone wants to say where you located and where you are on the journey. And then let's start taking some questions. We have some already. Awesome. Well, let's start with Luca. Luca, where are you?
Hi.
There you are. Hello, darling. Thank you for
Oh,
being here. What's your question?
Well, good thing I wrote it down because I always get tongue twisted up here.
well, good thing
Um,
voiceover, because you can just read it.
yeah, exactly. So I've been training with Donovan Corneets and Promo for about 6 months now. We're recording my demo in June. And my
Great.
question is, where do you find the most promo work? My manager has been pushing for more opportunities, but like she's not really. I feel like it's
Mhm.
kind of like a closed club. Like she's not. She has her hand in there.
You know,
Um,
oh, go ahead, please. I didn't mean to
Oh,
jump.
there was just gonna be a second question as well. Does it tend to be more union or non-union or both? And does non-union, does that like pose a kind of barrier at all?
Yeah, good question. Well, with the first one, wait, what was it again? No, I'm kidding. With well, actually, I'll take the second one first. The second one is it's both. It definitely is both. For network stuff, I mean, the stuff you see on ABC or whatever, obviously all union. This is very much a union thing, just as trailer is. It's basically all union. And that's for major motion pictures. A lot of people call things trailers that I don't know if they really are trailers, but those might be non-union. Like game trailers are trailers, but they're not movie trailers, right? So they have a totally different read, a totally different feel. And a lot of those are non-union because a lot of games are non-union. But with promo specifically, since that's your focus, it's half of it is non-jurisdictional, meaning that it's just not covered by the union. So you might go to a lot of TV stations out of Atlanta, like TNT and stuff. A lot of that work may be union, but some of it might not be. A lot of these smaller networks have deals that you're allowed to take if you're a SAG member. It's a real promo job, and you get paid more by a retainer or by the page, as opposed to here's your rate per spot per
Mhm.
tag, that kind of stuff, which you do with SAG. So it really is kind of the Wild West still. We're figuring it out. There's definitely a trend toward non-union, as there's for so many things. Are you currently in the union?
No, I'm non-union.
Okay, well, that means you still have at least half or more of the world of promo open to you. So that should not discourage you, and it's certainly a stepping stone if you choose to become union, which I would actually
Hmm.
encourage.
Mhm.
And you know what? Now I have forgotten the first part of your question. So,
Um, so my manager has been like making a
ah,
push to get more opportunities, but other than that, like, is there anything I can do to be proactive to get promo work?
sounds like you're doing it. I mean, you are studying with Donovan, which is great. I mean, he's seen a lot of success in promo. He's got some great reads himself. So it's nice to study with people who are actually doing the work, because they have a currency, and a temperature taking ability. To see what's actually going on, what's coming your way. So I think doing that, cutting a good demo, absolutely critical. Absolutely. Um, and it's funny you talk about talking with your manager. And the cool thing is you're talking with your manager. So many people are afraid to engage with their representation, whether it's their agent, their manager, whatever. And it's critical in this world. If you want to, like when I was started, I wanted to do promo and trailers, of course, from the get-go, but it's just not open to most of us from the get-go. So you have to usually prove yourself with commercial first. And if they see something in you, then they might invite you to start reading promo copy, but they probably won't unless you do what you're doing, which is engage with them and say, look, I'm studying with this guy. I just cut this demo. I think it sounds pretty good. Will you take a listen and see if you think, like I do, that I'm ready to start reading for you for promo? That is going to be always critical. Always take the front seat when you're dealing with your own career. Now, that said, you asked where do most of these opportunities come from, and I think for most of us, they come from our agents in terms of promo work. Trailer's totally different. That comes through management, but and even that's changing a little bit. But with promo, it's basically the agents who are going to get handed the copy from the producers and the CDs and all those folks. So I would look to, if you have an agent as a representation who's getting promo opportunities, you need to talk to that person. And if you're not, it's time to start shopping around for an agent who can give you those opportunities.
Mhm.
And I don't want to I could keep going forever, but I'll stop now because as
Yeah.
Tish knows, I tend to not shut up.
That's
Thank you
great.
so much.
It's really helpful. I think it's really helpful, and this is why we love to have people with perspectives on how things work, because each genre of voiceover, there's a through line of authenticity and bringing yourself, etc. And then you really need to know what is specifically about that genre. It's like, what is about this sport that makes you successful, and how does it work? And so it's really good to have these insights of like, oh, it's very specific. um yeah, excellent, thank you, Luca. Lori Pastor from Palm Springs, and she
I'm
says,
sorry.
she says, seeking representation, and I'll just do a little empowering semantic shift. I'm seeking representation. I'm seeking representation. I can't find it. Um, I'm looking to add to my powerful team to get the work that I am looking for. You are building your team, so you're adding to your team that is going to get you to the goals that you want. And see what happens when you put yourself, again, in the driver's seat about who and how you're working. And sometimes these little mindset shifts make a world of difference in how we approach this, because the business is set up for us to be a little like, that's okay. That's okay. I submit. It's okay. Yeah. So, but that being said, Lori, what's your question? Where are you, dear? Can we hear you? Can you unmute yourself?
Hi, I'm
Oh,
here.
there
I'm
you
here.
are. Hello.
Um,
Wait, her mouth doesn't move when she speaks.
There she is.
Hi.
discombobulated this morning, but no, I was just wondering your take on where, women, how you see women in the landscape of promos in the current landscape of the
Oh,
promo
yeah.
world right now.
Well, in a great position is where I see them. Women are killing it in promo. They're what you turn on the TV, you hear their promo voices everywhere. People like Mara Juno and Debbie Harada, and I mean, there are just so many people. Carrie Bazian. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of fantastic women doing promo, and it's not a barrier at all. In fact, if anything, it's an entree. I would capitalize on the fact that you're a woman and lead with that.
Mhm.
Female voices are very much coming into their own, but they're just being sought out by promo producers.
Yeah, and I think that there is a previously, when I started years and years ago, there was a little bit of like, well, don't worry your pretty little head about that. Because nobody's hiring women. Like don't invest in a promo demo because it's not really a place. So yeah, but
And make
I think it's really shifted. It's really shifted, and now just like anything else, do what there is, do what you can do and bring, and if it's not working your way, change it. Right. Yeah, what were you gonna say, Jack?
I said, and also the other part of that was, and at the end of that speech, they'd say, "And get me a donut."
I'm not that old. They discouraged it. They discouraged it, but yeah, awesome,
Thank you.
awesome. And
Thank you, you
and
guys.
I think there's still like it seems like in the trailer world, it's still a tiny bit of a thing, but it also is like the whole trailer world has shifted in terms of, are there voices at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see similar opportunities for women in trailer that are opening up?
It's true that right now I don't see as many
No.
opportunities.
Get me a cup of
I'm
coffee.
just, and I'll tell you one of the reasons for it. Denise Paterno, who produces the amazing promos that CNN does, she's kind of in charge of the voiceover for all that. Not kind of, she is.
Mhm.
But we were in a conference, in fact, with Kat and you and others last year at Atlanta. And Denise was asked that question. It's like, well, what about how come you don't use women enough on CNN in particular? And she's like, you know why? Because women don't want to hear it. It's like they've done so many studies where women
Oh.
themselves are the ones saying, I don't want to be told what to watch or do by other women. Now, is that changing? Of course it is. But that has been the take on it from marketing experts around the country. With trailer in particular, there seems to be a feeling that the female voice is not somehow appropriate. Maybe it's just a vestige from what we've gotten used to. I don't know what it is, but there's a kind of authoritative sound that I'm not saying women can't do, but men and women are different. We have different, we cause different physiological and mental reactions when we hear our voices. There's a lot of things I can't do because of the quality of my voice. There's just a lot of things that I'm never going to get hired to do because people won't like my voice in it. And it's not because I'm not talented. I think I am. It's not because I don't work hard. I'm not a decent person. Well, maybe the latter part's the question. But it's because, I'm just not going to fit for it. Do I mean that means women can't do trailers? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, often they've been very successful at doing so, but there is still, that's an emerging thing with trailer in particular.
Yeah, and this is a really interesting thing because when we talk about promo at the dojo, one of the things that is like a through line and an in is I think with everything in commercial, in commercial we're it's all about sharing. Like, hey,
Oh.
this is something that happened to me and I'm sharing it with you. Isn't that nice? And then in promo, um, we talk about there's the imperative you can use the imperative case. In fact, you must like, here's what you're doing. It's on now. Join us for this. If you don't do this, then do that. Then it's not happening. But it really is. There's something about an imperative tone of like, this is what you're doing right now. Do it. And so how do we all be able to switch from that? Because we're working so hard in commercial, like, no, no, no,
Mhm.
just try it. It's the thing. I like it, kind of. Um, and then I'm just riffing off of what you just said about men's and women's voices. See what happens if you have and I won't say her name, but if you have a device that you talk to that helps you, see what happens if you change the gender on the voice. My son has a guy's voice on it, and it's something like, why is that different? But there is something that test it out. Yeah, interesting. And then, you know, break the molds.
That's
Yeah.
that's key. Is like, just if you want to do trailer and you're a woman, well, then just do it. Just become really great at it so that you cannot be avoided. I mean, people like Debbie and Mara and Melissa Disney and others do trailers, and it's because they insist on it. They insist on being taken, in consideration. And
Mhm.
I do see more and more times where they're saying like open to men and women on this.
Mhm.
When get copy to read
Mhm.
or auditioning for things. So that used to not really be the case. They'd be saying, "Can you send them? We're 3 guys for this."
Right.
Instead, it's more like, okay, send me 3 people, a mix of men and women, because they're trying to see what works for the piece. And
Yeah.
if that piece needs if it just works better with a woman's voice, then why the hell not?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What other questions do we have here? Oh, Kira Gurney. Which continent are you on? Where is she now? She's always somewhere good. You here,
She
Kira?
in an aircraft where she's just flying around the world at all times. Or
She's either down under or up above, the one or the two. Where are you, darling? Can you hear us?
do you see our faces reversed from what we see?
Does our water go in the toilet bowl the other way? Where are you? Can you hear us, dear? Maybe we'll come back.
I can see her little rectangle.
Oh, there she
She's
is.
not
Oh,
muted, but
There we
oh,
go. Can you hear me now?
yes.
yes.
Yay! I got it. Can you hear me now? We remember that commercial. I don't have my camera on because I've been running back and forth doing things. Um, I had a question about coaching and demos, and I was actually the promo voice for a few years for Sony Pic's movie channel, which was great fun, but a very specific type of promo because they're based in India and they like things big and over the top and loud and,
Yep.
Probably a little bit different from what we do in the States these days, but maybe not always. So I've been thinking about just diving into a class and seeing if I'm interested in pursuing it further with other things. I've always liked the movie trailer thing. I've done a few auditions for game trailers and done a few characters in games, so I feel like that's an avenue for me possibly. I'm non-union at the moment anyway. So just kind of wanted a little, I don't know, feedback on those ideas. Maybe if I decide I want to pursue it, if there's good demo producers to keep in mind. Obviously, you do coaching. If there's other people that you like as well, or like, I don't know, just wanted a little discussion on that.
Yeah, I mean, almost everybody I know, I'm trying to think of anybody I don't know who does this, but everybody I know still takes coaching. I mean, no matter how successful, and these are people who've been doing it longer and,
Mhm.
more, or, and have done more than I have for sure. They still get either touch ups or continual coaching because we approach this as a profession, right? We're always trying to be better. We're trying to keep abreast of what's going on. But if we don't keep working out, then we fall into ruts, and we become yesterday's voice, and that's always going to be a concern. And I hear your voice. I immediately I hear the quality in it. And I'm not saying that you have to have that voice, but you definitely have that thing that makes me think, wow, I'd probably read her for promo. Just there's an authority there, but it's also a generosity. And building on what Tish said, that yes, there's an imperative quality to promo, but even though it is kind of telling you what to do, if you don't do it from a place of generosity and an invitation, it's not going to work, because no one wants to be told, do this, especially these days. People just aren't interested in that. They want to be invited, and they'll decide, if it sounds good. So there has to be like this interesting mix of things going on. And I think the more you can expose yourself to coaching and reads and workshops, especially, I find workshops to be absolutely fantastic. I attend them regularly with different readers, with different people, whether they're producers or other talents or whatever. This is the way I keep my skill set polished, not just doing the work, but in continually trying to see what else I can do and pushing myself just a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's also, about building relationships too, right? I mean, promo is a very, there's a lot on the line for each promo that you do. The show needs to be promoted well, and it happens fast. So as people get to know you and are in a relationship with you, then they get to trust you, and like, oh, she can handle this. I can trust her. And then you get to know the people, like, here's this person at CNN, here's this person, like, you get to know the people who are doing it, and they get to know you. So
for sure. And what's the least we can do? The least we can do is be there on time, receptive, turning around things quickly, being friendly, not speaking out of turn, letting people do their job, so that when they ask us to do ours, we're not just trying to make it a joke fest while we're in the session. These are just basics that, for some reason, there will always be a percentage of people who don't observe the basics, and they will be the people who will quickly find themselves out of that job that they got, because people don't want to work with people who don't understand these basic courtesies that are still important. No one's so great that they can't do the nice stuff as well. So I've the basic, but then you have just a few minutes to say, read the copy, because sometimes you'll be in a session and the copy comes in while you're there. And, okay, we're just finishing it. We're getting it to you right now. And then you're reading it. You still have to perform every single time. If you ever get into a rut where you're phoning things in, you think they don't hear that, you're absolutely incorrect about that. They have labored over this copy. They have put it through legal. They've done all kinds of stuff, and they're waiting for you to nail it. I'm not trying to make it seem like some unattainable skill. This is not. It's just, your mindset again, as Tish was saying. You just have to be ready to open up and give them what they need in an invitational, but in a professional way, not just relying on a certain promo sound, but in really investing yourself in each line, even if it's just a tag for when it's coming on or something.
Yeah.
They hear that stuff.
Yeah. And another little mindset shift, we always say here, there is no they, there's only we. So when you are in that room, you are part of that production team. You are making sure that gets on the air. You are in alignment with all the work that's been done. Here's the copy. Okay, now it's being put on, and now it's on the air. So the more you don't think, oh, what are they going to say? Or they want this. It's like, nope, I'm here to be part of my job, be, part of the team that's getting this part of the job done. Then of course you're showing up, right? Someone's judging you or something, just show up and make sure the job gets done well, because
and they're your best cheerleader too, because they want you to do a great job, and they hired you because they think you can. So just go ahead and give them what they hired you to do, and be confident.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great advice. Yeah.
Q, I realized that Jeffrey usually cues up the question, so let me hand that over to you, my dear.
Sure, I sure will. Next up, we have one from Maurice Scott. Maurice, are you around?
I know Maurice.
I see you around.
Who doesn't know Maurice? Actually?
Hey, good afternoon. I'm here.
There you are.
Hey, Jack. I have a quick question, I guess, about managers and agents. I have a manager, and now I have a potential agent that's interested in promo work.
Mm.
I'm wondering if there's a conflict, or will they work together, or how should I pursue this rather? Um, I'm not sure which direction to go.
Well, first of all, I would just forget about promo. I mean, your voice is terrible. You know, no one's. So- No, I joke around with Maurice because he's, as you hear, he's got this incredible instrument, and he's also got what I'm talking about in terms of generosity. I've worked with Maurice, and he's got an open heart, and I really believe in that as being part of the job description. So anyway, all that admiration out of the way. Please don't go pursue promo because you're going to take too much work. No, but seriously, to answer your question now, they usually do work hand in hand. Even though most promo work is generated, by agencies, managers and agents have to get along, and they usually do have good relationships, especially as you move up the ladder in terms of representation. So if you start getting to the atlases and the DPNs and the CESDs, they are very aware of and usually good friends with the managers because so many of their clients are going to be in both worlds. So you can expect them to talk to each other and want to work with each other. Is that actually answering your question, or was there some other? Oh, and specifically you asked about conflict. I don't think so. I mean, first of all, remember, this is your career. This is, you're supposed to do what you need to do for your career to get it further. If you say, well, listen, I have this management team and I'm going to keep this management team. I'd love to work with you guys at this new agency that I'm courting, but don't, unless they say very specifically, for whatever reason, we don't work with those guys. Remember, you're in charge. If they see something in you and they want to bring you on, you can have the confidence to say, well, they're part of my team. I hope we can open it up so that you're part of the team too. Work together, but these guys are helping me, so I'm going to keep them.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I
Thank
think,
you.
I think it's been, let's say, it's like I'm with ACM, which is a management company that started like representing people in promo and then has expanded. However, most people that I know that have managers and voiceover are specifically in the promo realm. Like that is where managers have traditionally been the place where that's the next step. If you're doing that kind of work, a lot of it, there's great promo management companies that great promo people have a great promo manager. So expect like that. It's interesting that you're going the other way. But usually that's a combo that is part of a successful promo career, and when you reach a certain level, right? And then the other way that the way that I've approached having a manager and an agency is just like everyone just gets money on everything. Like it's okay. We're all in this together. If you make me money, we'll all make money. If you make me money, we'll all make money. That's how I've approached it. Just to keep that there's not any like weirdness. But
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
It's a
Because I
good
don't get
point,
a
though.
lot of.
Is I just want to say it's a good question because some of these relationships seem like they're fraught sometimes, and even though I'm saying this is your career and all that, and it is, but you're wise to be aware of the potential forces and to deal with those maybe on a case by case basis. I don't know that there's a single answer to your question, but it's the type of thing you should just call your VO buddies and other people you trust and just say, hey, I'm thinking about taking this step now. Are there any pitfalls I can watch out for?
Mhm.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Because like with my agent, I don't get a lot of promo or trailer work. I get
Mhm.
mostly commercials and
Mhm.
political. But the agent asked
Yeah.
me to send them my commercial promo and trailer demo, which I did,
Mhm.
and they've expressed interest.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Excellent.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No,
Right.
thank you.
No.
I guess next up, Lawrence Brisky has a timely question. Would you jump in, please, Lawrence?
Like
There I am. Can you hear me?
Good.
Yes, yes.
Oh, what a professional, huh? What impact do you think the Writers Guild strike will have on the whole industry? It's kind of a broad stroke question. It's not directly for promo, but it's part of it. That's
Well,
my
I think it will. I mean, it will have some impact, I guess. But I mean, we've gone through strikes before. They happen. People deal with them. They either put the show in abeyance or they just wing it. And those things happen. But I don't know that the promos things still have to be promoted. So I'm not sure that the promo world per se will be impinged so much. Obviously, a lot of other people are feeling the effects, but it seems like I know that there was something like 98% of the writers agreed to this strike. So there's a lot of strength behind this movement. But to speculate beyond that, I feel like it would be. I don't know enough about that world. Honestly, I know a few writers, and fortunately, they're in excellent positions, so that they're not personally worried, but they tend to be very supportive of one another. So I can't predict the outcome, but to directly answer your question, I don't think promo per se will be affected terribly negatively by this.
Well, and I think, one of the other things we say at the dojo is also voiceover is an art form that serves commerce. And so when there are shifts, in things, the things that are in advertising, promo is promoting something that you are encouraged to watch on whatever it is, a network or a streaming platform or something. So if something's changing, like, hey, we're regrouping to bring back the show we already have written. It'll be great. Someone's got to promote that, right? Like during the
Yeah.
pandemic, which shifted, the world for everybody. Holy mackerel! Like the thing, like I did spots for a campaign for a company called Workday, and we did stuff in February that didn't get aired until like a long, long, long time after because we had to do another thing that was what was going on in the pandemic right now. We're all in this together. It's gonna be okay. And then a little bit later, like, holy shit, we've been in our house for a really long time. And then so I think when things happen, and not in a mercenary way, because we really are all in this get together, and we can't. What impacts writers and production has impact on other things. That's why we have unions. So I think the key to anything is, how do you keep abreast of what's going on? How do you keep attuned to what the issues are? How do you, clarify what your own uh, personal take on it, and how can you and be involved to help in the way that you can, um, and then don't panic. Right? I think things like strikes tend to be dramatic, get dramatic, and the strength is in being calm, being clear, and sticking together. So,
Yeah. Did you
um,
ever see that movie, Tish, Broadcast News? I think a
oh
lot of us.
yes.
Wonderful movie. William Hurt plays this, this newscaster, and at one point they come up to him, basically accuse him of not being sad enough when there's this big mass firing, which happens in radio and TV all the time. And he says, "I'm sorry that I'm not more upset over something I've gone through like 5 or 6 times already in my career." And there's some wisdom to what he says in that line, because if you work in this industry, things come and go all the time, and rarely does it have anything to do with you personally. You just have to get used to it. And I'm not in any way belittling, this strike or the people affected by it. I'm just saying it's a volatile industry. Just deal, move on, and keep your own counsel.
Right. And it's also a constantly transforming industry.
Yeah,
So
totally.
how we were doing things before is different now, and it will continue to be different. And then the ideas of how do we stay ahead of making it beneficial for everybody, which is not how negotiations go. But if I were the head negotiator, yeah.
That
So
never reminds me of a piece of advice I got from David Lyerly, one of the great coaches of promo and trailer voices. He doesn't coach anymore, but he moved on to head up Blizzard Entertainment's game voices. But he once said, don't assume that what has worked in the past, and he's talking more about the performance aspect, but this goes for it all. Don't assume that what has worked in the past will work today or tomorrow. You know, so if you keep trying to imitate your own past or other people's performances, you know, tomorrow may be completely different. You know, the reads change, everything changes. So like you say, Trish, we just have to be adaptable, malleable, and always forward thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Tish, you are. um,
Thank you.
yeah, excellent. Who's next, Q?
Okay, well, Steve Mallers from Minneapolis can't speak to us, but he wants to know, Jack, how much does your knowledge of marketing and advertising inform your VO work?
It's a good question. Let's see. Well, you know, I think that the fact that I was in the corporate business world for so long definitely has a good effect on me. It took, like I was saying before, in terms of the resilience and the patience and the doggedness. But you know, you become attuned to marketing trends. They all kind of do change and move in concert. So if you become aware of not just, you should be a student of TV promo if you're interested in this world, right? You should be watching it, recording it, listening to it, seeing how you sound on the same spots by writing them down. You should be doing all that. But also reading copy that you see in magazines, because a lot of times those things presage what actually comes down, I think, to the what we see on television and hear on radio. So these trends they're all happening all at once everywhere. Ooh, that should be a movie. But it's something I think you're right to be attuned to. So explore that. If you have your own background, I don't know if that's part of your question, you have a background in marketing or advertising, I think that can only be a fantastic ace in the hole for you. And just keeping abreast of that skill set will serve you well.
Yeah. And I think also it's interesting because you didn't just work in the corporate world, you worked in the startup corporate world, which inherently implies entrepreneurialism, which I think is also modularization. Yeah, so I think that's something else to really recognize, that understanding that we are running our businesses and we are the people driving it. Interesting that it was in the sales part of that where you you understand what needs to happen. We need to talk to this many people, and we need to
And I think you're implying too that I was writing copy. I was doing it. You know, I was helping out with tech stuff. I was doing all kinds of stuff because it's a crazy world when you're in the startup world, as you know, and you do have to wear all those hats at once. And it's part of the excitement. It's also debilitating in some ways, but yeah, you learn a lot of stuff for sure.
Yeah, but I think if you are coming from a marketing or advertising background, but as I was starting my voiceover career, my husband and I started a small graphic design company, and we, you know, this is how long I've been doing it. We did cassette tape covers for voiceover artists, but having that graphic design does visually what we do with our voice, right? You have to it's the same thing. So it's the same process of what are we trying to say? How are we communicating it? Which energy is it? It's just different senses, different mediums that we're working on. So I think if you understand how marketing works, and why it works and why it's, awesome and powerful and positive. I think sometimes we get like, oh, marketing, oh, sales.
Right.
That's what we do, babies. That's what we do.
You're selling yourself.
So, yeah. Awesome. Well, we got time for a few more questions. What's up?
Yeah, well, we have someone coming in on their phone who can't type their question. So, Kevin, if you could jump in real quick with your question, and then we'll move on to the folks who've been in line behind you.
All right. Yeah, so I have a great voice, of course. And so, excuse me, Jack, how did you say, what was about the Puss in Boots, the Last Wish? How did you entertain about the promo? How did you promo that one for The Last Wish, Puss in Boots? Because obviously I can't find you on the YouTube that you were doing a promo for it. How did you do that voice for the Puss in Boots, The Last Wish promo?
Well, that one was easy because honestly, they had a model for it. It was they were trying to do a take on the most interesting man in the world sort of idea. So that's part of our culture. I mean, we all have seen those ads, you know, the most interesting man in the world. And that is, gosh, I can't believe I'm blanking. Fantastic narrator. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. It's Will. Very famous guy. Of course, I'm just blanking his name, but terrific talent. But they wanted that kind of feel. Yes, thank you.
There you go.
Thank you very much. But they wanted that feel, you know, that's super authoritative, and yet somewhat wryly amused by what he's saying feel. And so I, you know, auditioned for that, and they said, yeah, let's go with spots that do that. And the interesting thing with trailer 2 is that it used to be only one voice, all the trailers. Now, a lot of times you'll have several different voices on the same campaign because they're appealing to different demos. They're appealing to, they're trying different strategies, you know. So you might have one person doing this set of trailers. You might have this other person doing another set, and they're both completely different in feel and tone. Because they're both, their types are different.
Yeah, and like especially a film like Puss in Boots, which appeals greatly to grown-ups and also is marketed to kids, right? That both are going to enjoy that. All my boys were like, "We loved that movie." On my team.
Did that answer your question, or was there another question in there? I'm sorry if I didn't quite understand it.
I think that was it. Was that it, Kev?
Not quite it yet, but is there the next project? Is the next question? Are you going to be putting on the next promo project very soon for the other film and movies?
Oh yeah. No, I'm working on a couple of movies right now. They're not actually released. The trailers are not released yet, but I'm on 2 projects currently for fairly big movies. So. I'll be able to talk about those probably in about 2 weeks.
Cool. All right. Well, we're running a little short on time, so I'm going to cut you off there, Kevin,
Great.
and move to Chris Pfaff if we could.
Good questions, Kev.
Yeah, very good. So, Chris, you had a question.
Yeah, basically, first of all, I love your voice, Jack, and I think your answers are great. It's been very generous. I don't have a demo yet, and that won't be coming for a while, but I know people at places like Trailer Park. I mean, what would your advice be? I mean, should I reach out to them, talk to them? I mean, what, you know, for someone like me, what would your counsel be?
Oh, my counsel would be, heck yeah. I mean, if you have contacts in a place like Trailer Park, which is one of the most storied, you know, production houses there is, I would certainly take advantage of that. You don't have to be super aggro about it. You could just be like, hey, you know, I've been working really hard on my trailer reads. Is there any opportunity for me to help scratch some stuff? You know, that might be because most of us don't have those contacts right away. So the fact that you have those is a huge step forward. And, you know, if they allow that or say that, you know, we'll see what we can do. Just gently remind them if it doesn't happen right away. You want to be careful. People who are doing trailers, they're extremely overworked. I mean, they're trying to do more and more with less and less and fewer people. And so they can sometimes be a little bit overwhelmed. So a lot of times they'll do their own scratching because that's what they have time for when they're showing their stuff to the studios to try to get it bought. But they often also want to bring in good talent to do it because that sells it much better if they have someone who can already do a trailer voice. And like I said, that's how I got my start in trailers, was doing scratching. So absolutely take advantage of it. Just don't be too gung ho, but I would get in there with any kind of opportunity like that for sure.
And I think it's also an opportunity when you have resources, when you have people who are in your circle that you know, and you can say, hi, I'm doing this. People are usually really excited, like, well, let me be your mentor. Let me know when you get your demo. And you can say, is it okay if I ask you questions well, are you like, you can just create it that, not like, hi, I'm here, I'm Chris, I'm doing promo now. And they're like, no, you're not. But if you approach it of like, hey, I'm doing this now, I'm so excited and I'm doing this, and present yourself as in process. And then usually people are like, hey, yeah, absolutely. How can I help? Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Jay Horace Black, you still with us?
What's up, Jay?
Oh, did we lose him?
Yeah, I'm here. Hey, what's up, Jack?
Another person I know.
Well, I got a list of questions. So Jack, knowing what you know now, being the wisdom that you have, and so much you've accomplished since we met at George and Dan's show, what track of training or experience would you seek, knowing what you know now?
I think workshops were the thing that really helped me the most, but I also worked directly with coaches. So I was trying to do as much as I could. Like when I moved to LA, the deal with myself was I would continue to train. I would attend every workshop I could, because especially in those days, they weren't that long ago, but in those days it was all in person, which in many ways is an advantage because you actually got to meet people. But now we meet people online, and almost everything is online. So that has opened up that world, and now we can work with anybody anywhere. So I would train workshops and private coaching as much as I can and can afford, with good, solid people. And just keep working at it, because that's how you meet people who can open doors, who can say, come on in for an audition type of stuff.
And then would you say, because I think you had just finished Joe Cipriano's intensive.
Yeah, I think that's when we met, right?
Yeah. Would you say that's one of the main training resources that helped you?
Yeah,
along the way.
That type of event, especially run by a person like Joe, who's does everything first class. I mean, he makes sure that that you're getting a lot of value for the workshop, and he would bring in. He knows everybody. He could bring in a lot of his friends who are producers and directors and CDs to be part of his workshop. So that makes extraordinary value. But there's so many workshops. I look around and I see them all the time, and I attend them. Where they'll bring in a Denise Paterno, whose name I mentioned earlier, who will bring in a Mary Jo Smith from ABC. To actually, you're actually working with the people who are at the very top of the game, directing you and hearing you. This is critical, and it can be magical, if you attend regularly and really work at your craft. That's one way to get heard.
And so when do you know, I know in commercial, you don't do a demo right away, because I heard people talking about, I want to do a demo. When do you know, or do you think a person is ready to do a demo?
That's a good question. And then there you have to, if you trust your coach, they should be able to tell you, what I'm hearing is that you're ready to cut your demo. But you never rely on one person. You ask your colleagues, your friends. You say, hey, listen, here's where I am. Here are some reads I'm working on. What do you hear? These are the people who can help you. And a lot of times you go to say a workshop, and you can ask the person there, do you think I'm demo ready? People they know that everyone's struggling to get there. Everyone's trying to advance their careers, and they're not like, you can't ask me that. I mean, most people are pretty generous, and the type of person who shows up to teach at one of these workshops is usually going to be pretty open to that idea. So you can get some honest feedback.
And I think, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, you can go ahead, because it's going to be, you have something to tie into that.
After you.
Well, I think that applies with the thing that applies with any demo is not only where are you at with your skills, which need to be competitive, where are you at with your understanding of how the business works, which allows you to step in and go, oh, I'm ready to be part of that team effort, of that group effort. And then are you ready to deliver one or two steps beyond what you're going to do on your demo? Because that's, it's this little thing of you're crossing a threshold So are you confident that like whatever's thrown at you, you can, whatever you need to deliver in a session, you have enough confidence, clarity, understanding how the game works that you can do it. And there might be things on your demo that are a little stretch or like, oh, don't hit that triple axel every time, but I know I got it, right? I know what I need to do. So I think that's for any demo that you're stepping out into the world with. It's like, are you ready to serve when your demo serves you? Is a great way to approach it. And then
Makes
getting
sense.
advice, because whenever we cross a threshold, one of the how do we say this again, Kat? The well, to put it bluntly, there's a day before you've had sexual activity and there's a day after you've had sexual activity, and nobody can tell you when or how that works, and we hope it's good. But do you see what I'm saying? It's a little blunt, but yeah. So you'll
What's
know
the rating of this?
it'll happen, and get advice. So yeah,
All
um,
right. I
yeah.
think we have time for one more question. If we can get Kelsey in real quick. And then I think we're going to transition to Tyler Ashley for a wrap up, right?
Yeah, we'll hear how to keep in touch with Jack, and then we'll wrap it up with Tyler.
Hello.
Mm.
My question is basically what got you interested into promo? Like when you were a kid, did you used to like
Ooh, sorry about that.
It's okay. Did you used to like mimic the quintessential TV promo voice, and what actors like inspired you personally to get into the field?
Yeah, you totally nailed it. I mean, I was that kid, who was there, with his tape recorder, holding it up to the TV and recording stuff and then listening to it and then taking the tape recorder apart and anyway, that's a different story. But yes, I was totally into that. I loved the sound of broadcast, whether it was radio, TV, or movie trailers. I just always found it invigorating and exciting. So most of the ones who would have influenced me were, voices whose names I couldn't attach a name to them because they were just, these voices. But later learned that they were the Ernie Andersons of the world, the Townsend Colemans, Joe Ciprianos, people who later became names well known to me, but they were just those wonderful voices, Don LaFont, all these names, these wonderful people. Yeah, does that get to your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No right answer.
Excellent. Well, this has been a wonderful, wonderful hour. And Jack, how we'll share in a second how we keep in touch with everyone at the dojo and how we're here to help. But Jack, how do you like people to keep in touch with you?
Well, you send your money to GoFundMe /
The real secret of promo success.
Well, I'm on, if you want to, I post occasionally on Instagram at Jack Daniel VO. And then I'm on Facebook as well. Same thing. And my website, jackdanielvo.com. You can see some of my work there. I kind of put front forward some of the promo and trailer work I've done. So if you want to check that out.
Yeah, and so it's always good to listen and learn from the people who are doing the things and doing them
You can
well.
listen to it and be like, how did that guy get that thing?
Really? He did that? Gosh. Yay. Well, thanks everyone. Hold on one second. I'm gonna put up some Tyler, Ashley, you wanna introduce yourself, and I'll share some things that we have to share with you. With everybody.
Absolutely. And we will not take too much of your time. This is just super quick, a great way to let you guys know how to stay in touch with us. So I'm Tyler Ashley here at the VO Dojo. I'm the talent consultant here. So questions, concerns, anything, it pretty much goes to me. I'm kind of like your first person. So this PowerPoint is just to let you know what we stand for and a few things that we are offering just for this webinar. And we appreciate everyone hopping on. And thank you, Jack, so much. It was really nice meeting you. I didn't get to say hello at the beginning, so Hello.
Well, hello, and thank you. No, I really enjoyed myself.
All right. So yeah, so what the dojo is known for, consistency, connection, and community. That is the goal, and that is how you are successful with the voiceover journey. We are all about you and where you are with your journey. And we just want you to know that you're not doing anything alone. So for me personally, the dojo is accountability, guidance, and community. So for the few of you, I see a lot of familiar faces. That's one thing I always harp on in all of my consultations.
Harp on. Sure. Yeah.
It's huge. It's a big thing. We all need that in every facet of our lives. So I will continue to say accountability, guidance, and community is key. So this is our Ask the Sensei, which is actually every month. It's the first Wednesday. So you can meet us back here next month at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1 p.m. Eastern time for my Eastern time, me, Lydians. And then we also have our Get to Know VO, where Tish drops all of her gems. And that is the third Wednesday of each month, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Right. And then, yeah, so you can always schedule a complimentary consultation with us. And so that's just pretty much, it's a 30-minute strategy call. But again, it's about you, your journey, what questions do you have, and how can we meet you where you're at with your voiceover path.
Yeah. And this is scheduling today is the thing.
Yeah, so the two bonuses that we have, if you are able to schedule a consultation today for any day that works for you that I'm available, obviously click on a schedule, we are giving a free spectator seat. So that's a $49 value. So you will get that at no charge to you by just simply scheduling a consultation that is complimentary. And then our second bonus.
And this is for people who are new to the dojo. If you haven't been, or if you're ready to jump forward, if you've been part and jump forward, the second bonus.
So we are offering $50 towards your next step with the dojo. So we have a complete training program where it starts for I don't know what to do or where to start to the working pro. So whichever opportunity you feel fits you, you'll get $50 towards that.
Yeah, excellent. And let's go back to the. This is the place to to sign up for your VOO, and we love talking with you and hearing where you're at and what you're after. So, yeah. Well, thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Q. And thank you, Jack, for being here with us. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to finding more ways that we can be in collaborating.
What's the next month event day? Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kev. Can you what is next month's event? We do this every Wednesday, the first Wednesday of every month. So you can put it on your calendar. So, and we'll have someone good.
But you know what? But do you know what's the next event coming next month? Sorry.
Who's it going to be? No.
Not yet. But we'll let you know as soon as we do. So, yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Stop the share here, and look forward to getting to talk with you. And hope this has been inspiring. I think everyone being able to open the doors to diversifying your voiceover portfolio is always a really, really good thing. The more things we can do well is how we keep our businesses going. So thank you so much. We'll see you in the next time. Yeah, excellent.
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody.
And I said to you, Jack Daniel, about something. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, send Jack Daniel a message.
Yes.
I think he sent you.
Yeah.
I think he sent you a message. So be on the
oh.
lookout for an email.
Oh, I misunderstood. Okay, guys.
All right. I'm just going to go ahead and end the meeting for all now, unless Jack and Tish need to catch up on anything. Nope. All right. Good luck, everyone.
Yeah.
See you in a month.
I